Hey friends, welcome back to the channel with more My Hero Academia. This is season 3, episode 11, and really excited for this episode. It's going to be All Might versus All for One. Can't wait to see how it turns out. Last time, Bakugo was saved by the kids, thankfully. Deku's ridiculous plan worked out well, and Kirishima reached out his hand, and Bakugo reached out for his bro's hand. That was really cool. But hopefully, All Might will be okay this episode. He was already running out of juice by the time he arrived, so we'll see how this all turns out. If you guys want to watch the full reaction, check out Patreon in the link in the description below. Otherwise, take a quick moment to leave a like, and let's get started. For those of you watching on YouTube, reaction is going to be redirected in the link in the description below. All right, let's go. So YouTube has been blocking my reactions to My Hero Academia, so the rest of this video is just going to be the commentary, but you can still see the reaction in the link in the description below. We're going to do this for the rest of Season 3. I'll tinker around with Season 4 when I get to it to see if I can get around the copyright issue, but not too optimistic about that. But again, you can check it out still, and let's get on to the commentary. I thought, wow, I thought this show was going to slow play this. I thought like maybe a couple of seasons down the line, Deku would defeat All for One only to realize that All for One passed down his quirk to Shigaraki, and then we'd have another couple of years with Deku trying to take down Shigaraki as he accumulates more and more quirks. But yeah, they really just defeated All for One right now. So we get to see Nana Shimura's early interactions with All Might before he was All Might, and when he was still Toshinori Yagi. Shame that she was taken from this world too soon by All for One. Makes me curious if All for One killed all the previous holders outside of the first one, his own brother. I'm assuming he didn't kill his own brother. And he fights All Might with psychological warfare, insulting Nana Shimura, his master, forcing All Might to get hasty and rash. And I said in the very second episode of the series that All Might is kind of a mess on the inside, and Gran Torino proves that here, saying that it's always been his weakness. He gets rattled, and in this case, All for One exploits it. And he reveals to All Might what I realized last episode, that Tenko Shimura, Shigaraki, is the grandson of Nana Shimura. It's why he targeted him. He wanted to bring All Might despair. Really good strategy, and really a necessary move if his goal is to destroy All Might's ability to smile, his ability to face the world. All Might really just, it broke him. The only thing that brought him back was the remembering who he was, and why he does what he does. And all the other heroes showed up on the scene, and I thought maybe they'd help with the fight, but they were mostly there to clear the area and just make it so that All Might could go all out. And that's how big the gap is between them and All Might, which begs the question, what happens to the world now? There aren't any threats as big as All for One, and I don't think he was able to pass on his quirk to Shigaraki, or there was no proof of that at least. But if a threat like that were to show up, we don't have anyone who can protect society. He even mentioned that he was impressed with Endeavor beating all those low-level Nomus, which means there are high-level Nomus out there as well. So we'll have to see what is in store out there, what's ready for Shigaraki to use to attack the Hero Society. And the number 1 hero now is going to be Endeavor. Best Jeanist was the number 4 hero, and he's either dead or dying. And we don't know who the current number 3 is, and the new number 2 will be. So is this an inspiring enough group? Because Endeavor definitely doesn't have the same kind of presence that All Might has. All Might is a beacon of hope. He's someone everybody looks up to, whereas with Endeavor, I mean, I assume the world doesn't know that he abused his wife and kids. I don't know if they know he forced her into a quirk marriage, but I mean, Deku didn't know until Shoto told him, so I'm guessing people don't know in the general population. But maybe his public perception is better than our perception of him. But I'm not comfortable with him being number 1. Or I'm not, it's not that I'm not comfortable with him being number 1. I'm not reassured by him being number 1. And if he isn't a good number 1, society will lose hope. And they don't know that All Might's successor is being trained right now. So And even if they did, he won't be ready to fend off the greatest threats the world faces for several years, or Japan. We haven't seen them leave Japan, but it could be a dark, dark time. Speaking of which, though, I wonder what hero work is like outside of Japan, because we've only looked at Japan so far, and maybe the biggest villains all reside in Japan for some reason. But yeah, All Might's facade fell. The whole world saw him as he really is after that stomach injury, which honestly probably makes people love him even more. They previously saw him as someone who is just so powerful that he's infallible, and knowing that he had to struggle to fight, that he's more like them in many ways, that makes him more of a hero. And yeah, seeing him in that weakened state, they still believed in him. And like I said before, I honestly didn't think it'd be All Might versus All for One so early in the series, season 3. So I wasn't really sure what would happen next, because I don't know where they wanted to take the story. Would All Might be killed? Would he fight to a draw and All for One would get away? Or would he be on the losing end and he would have to get away? Or would he triumph? Which he did, but it's not fully over yet. But yeah, the story could have gone a whole bunch of different ways. I think this is a very satisfying ending to the era of All Might, though. He had been losing power, and what better way for him to go out than to take down the biggest threat that probably ever existed to modern society? But yeah, society would have fallen apart if we saw All Might get killed. And while that would be a bold and interesting story choice, it destroys the premise of the show, because if All Might was killed, we can't just go back to school after that. And this is called My Hero Academia. Um, yeah, the villains would have just run rampant after All Might is killed. But there is a threat of that still now that he's gone. There's nobody on the level of All for One, but we'll have to watch out. But yeah, All Might's final attack, wrecking his right arm, switching all the power he has into his left, then back to his right, took a page right out of Deku's playbook and used his already broken arm for one final smash. And that's so beautiful in a way, because in that final punch, you saw Nana's image just pass on to him. He grabbed it and it strengthened his arm, but it wasn't just the predecessors there, but it's also his successor that helped him bring down All for One. It could very well be that he's done smashes with broken limbs and broken bones before, but it's trademark Midoriya at this point. It's hard not to think about that while he used his final smash. And yeah, United States of Smash. What a great, ridiculous name. Uh, we've heard before that he spent some time in America, where somebody commented that and I read it. But yeah, very funny that he named it United States of Smash. We had some interesting moments with Bakugo. He claims he wasn't being rescued. He just saw them as his best escape route. Okay, okay, Bakugo. He's so funny. Definitely seems like he caught on that Deku wasn't BSing him in season 1, though, when he told him about his borrowed quirk. All Might points at the camera and says, "You're next." Everyone thought it was other villains, except for Deku, and maybe except for Bakugo, because it seems like he figured something out in that moment. But Deku's not ready. Deku's not ready to be next. He's absolutely not ready. He just learned how to use his quirk without destroying his body like a couple months ago. But I hope nobody tries to rush Deku along. I feel like he might try to rush himself along, and people will have to hold him back. But yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. All for One also sussed out that All Might had passed his power on to Deku, so I don't think he communicated that to anyone else, any villains. It's possible though, and yeah, he would have a huge target on his back. So hopefully that's not the case. What an emotional episode though. Goodbye All for One, and then goodbye One for All. But I'm not convinced that we're saying goodbye to, I mean, obviously we'll see One for All again in Deku, but I'm not convinced this is the end of All for One, the quirk. I don't know if he passed it on to Shigaraki. I don't know if he escapes at some later point, but I don't think it's over yet. But yeah, saying goodbye, for All Might to say goodbye to this power that has let him do so much good over the years, it has to feel so odd. And suddenly everyone who was counting on you, they still love you, but they can no longer count on you to protect them. That's a harsh reality too. So yeah, we'll see how he fits into society after this. I assume he's still going to continue being a teacher. I wonder if the students will look at him any differently. Probably not. But we'll see. Anyway, guys, incredible episode. 11 out of 10. Can I do that? Is that fine? 11 out of 10. That was spectacular. Thanks for watching, guys. Full reaction in the description below on Patreon. We are 1 week ahead over there as well. And yeah, take a quick moment to leave a like. Really helps out the channel. Smash that like button. Yeah, okay. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye, friends.